Jola Suryavatman Method de Ceremony. Hi and welcome to Canadian Multiculturalism Day. Today, me and Jola are going to be your co-MCs. I'd like to first invite Jola to tell us a little bit about herself.
Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching us all around the world. My name is Jola Waraji, a master's student of sociology. I'm from a family of 5. I have no favorite color, and I love community development, and I'm glad to be an MC with Sebastian today. Over to you, Sebastian.
Bonjour tout le monde, je m'appelle Sébastien Marchand. Hi everyone, my name is Sebastian Marchand. I'm a third-year political studies student, and I'm honored to be your guys' MC tonight. I'm now going to give Jola the mic again.
Okay, so at this point, we would like to welcome Turk Torcher. He's a member for the Parliament of Saskatoon University.
Hi, I'm Corey Tucker, member of Parliament for Saskatoon University. I just want to bring greetings on behalf of the Conservative Party on the important day of Multicultural Day. I'm out here in Ottawa with our Ukrainian interns, and what we were able to do is help some of the interns from Ukraine flee the scene over there. And I can't think of a better theme for this year for Multicultural Day about making safe spaces for minorities. And today, with the interns, this is a great example of what we can do to make that a safe space. So, all the best. Take care.
And to really start this event off, we're going to get Blue Jay and Lake to come perform the grass dance for us, which is really going to bring the energy, the emotion, and I'd really like to welcome up and really bring the energy up for us today. So, I hope you guys enjoy.
Says Link Standing, he's from Wapayton, Dakota First Nation, 7 years old, and me and him, we danced the grass style. So there's many stories on the grass. There's like many stories of how it originated. The one that I hear told a lot is there was a boy who was sick, and the grass dance is a healing dance. And this boy was sick. He didn't have the feeling in his legs. He lost feeling at a certain age. So one night he was struggling, and he had this dream of the grass and the prairies, and how the grass moves all as one. It looks like as a wave. That's what he had a dream of. So he took that dream and he took it to his mom, and he told his mother. He said, "Mom, I had this dream about the grass. What does it mean?" And his mom didn't know, so his mom took him to a medicine man, and the medicine man told the boy that dream means something. So you have to go on the prairie for 4 days and you have to fast. You'll wonder, spirits will tell you what that dream means. So the boy went out on the prairie and he sat for 4 days, 4 nights, and it was hard for him. He was struggling. It was a rank sacrifice to give. So the 4th day he was sacrificing in the sun, and he started to look at the grass, and he started to see the grass moving, and the grass started to turn into him. And it started to turn into him dancing, and he started dancing in the waves, how the grass moves, how the grass flows. So after he was done fasting, he went back to that medicine man and he told him his dream. And that medicine man told his family, he said, "You gotta make this outfit, you have to dance for your boy." So his mom, aunties, everybody got together and they made this outfit for his brothers and his fathers to dance. So they danced, and after a while of dancing for that boy, it started to heal him and his feeling came back. He was able to bring that style of dance. So that's one story on the grass dance. There's another story of how it was brought by the Dakota people. The Dakota people came in from the States and they came in up north. And when they first came here, they came and settled with the Blackfoot. So after they settled with the Blackfoot, they brought presents and gifts. And one of the gifts they brought was a crow belt. And the crow belt was a belt just like this, but it had a bustle on the back. So if you ever see grass dancers, most grass dancers have a heart, or they have something at the back of their eyebrow. But that represents a bustle and a crow belt. Old grass dance societies, they have those. When the Dakota people, when they came up here, they gave that to the Blackfoots. They gave the style of dance to the Blackfoots, and they gave them a crow belt and a horsewhip. A horsewhip looks like a drumstick, but it has a long piece of string at the end. So when you're riding and you hit your horse in the back. They stole that from the Crows, the Dakota people, and they gifted it to the Blackfoots in that way of style. So now, me and Linky, we're gonna dance the grass dance style for you guys.
Ready to change your scenery?
So at this point, I'd like to introduce the BIPOC youth artist. BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color. Thank you.
Welcome everybody.
My name is Adrian Aquino, and today I have the great privilege of sitting with some fantastic young artists here for our BIPOC Youth Artist Panel for Multiculturalism Day. So without further ado, I'd like to give everybody a chance to introduce themselves, starting from here, right here. Jana, would you please do us the honor of starting us off?
Hi everyone, my name is Jana. I'm 18 years old. I study psychology at the University of Saskatchewan and I love art.
Thank you, Jana. Adia, please.
My name is Adia, hello, and I am 16 years old, turning 17 soon. And I came to Canada about when I was 13, and I currently attend the multi-learning SAGE program and I'm in grade 11.
Fantastic. Swada, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Swada Jina. I'm originally from Somalia, but I born in Kenya and grew up in Kenya. And I have been in Canada for 4 years now. And I was an artist in my country, so and until now that is my career. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, of course, we're staying in an art panel, and I think our audience is dying to know what everyone has kind of brought along. So, Adia, could you tell us what this beautiful canvas is that you brought for us?
Yes, this is actually a recreation of a Raja Ravi Verma style painting from a reference from an Indian designer called Sabyasachi, and I did it on this canvas with acrylic paints. And it took about 17 to 18 hours to make.
That's really beautiful. You know, particularly I like the background color. It really makes that skin tone pop out. Jana, you have some sketches you brought along. Could you tell us a little bit about what you made?
So this is a pencil like drawing, and the background I use watercolor and ink for the doodles here. Basically, this drawing is about 9/11 and just how the media shifted and portrayed Muslim people after this event. And here it's saying salam, which means peace, and I just wanted to show that Islam is a religion of peace, and I am peaceful. I'm not a terrorist or anything. So yeah, this is the meaning of this drawing.
That's beautiful. So, Swada, I know you didn't have anything brought us here in person, but I know you make art that's, I think, too big to fit in this room. So can you tell us a little bit about the kind of art that you make?
I work with the same Saskatoon, and I did an artist with them, and they put in 3 different locations. And it takes like 1 year to make that art because I have to prepare everything and arrange everything, and then all the way around the city.
And they're sculptures of flowers, as I understand it, right? And you can find them, I understand, in Broadway.
Yeah.
And what are the other 2 locations?
One on Broadway, another one on Riversdale, and another one on downtown.
Beautiful. So if anybody driving around city manages to see a sculpture of beautiful flowers, well, now you know who we mean.
One is on Broadway and 10th Street. The other one is close to Friendship Inn, opposite Friendship Inn. Yeah, and the other one is close to Nine.
Fantastic. So I'm curious to know, like, since we listen to some talented artists here, you know, when did everybody start kind of on their journey of being an artist? When did you realize that you first wanted to be an artist? Maybe we can start with Jan.
Okay, so I always liked art and drawing and painting, but I took art seriously and I started developing my skills in 2016. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and I took a couple of art classes just for basic, and I practiced every day.
Okay, perfect. How about you, Anya? When did you first know that you wanted to do art?
Art has been a part of me ever since I can remember, and although my toddler memory may not serve as the best, my parents have told me that I started picking up pens and pencils at the very young age of like 1.5 years old. And I've just been working with different kinds of mediums ever since, and I just can't imagine life without it.
That's beautiful. I guess it's like one of those things that even when we ourselves don't know it, our brains are deciding for us that this is what we're going to put our energy towards. So, how about you? When did you realize when you were young that you wanted to be an artist?
I was always drawn to the artist, and art was part of my hobby. So I went for college for 4 years back home, and I started being an artist at the end of 15 years old, and it's been almost 8 years now. Yeah, so it's part of my hobby, something that I like to do every time. I can even close my eyes and do whatever I want without doing anything. So yeah.
So that talent was very much inside you, just kind of waiting to come out. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. So, we're all sitting here today for multiculturalism day, right? There's a reason we're, we all come from different cultures. Yeah, let's talk about art. So I'm very curious to know like what role our cultures, the cultures of origin that we came from, played in the art that you made. So, Nadia, how do you think your heritage shows?
I think art and culture, they affect a lot about how we think, and how we think also transports itself onto the canvas. So, and personally, I think my culture shows a lot through my artwork. It means what I choose to draw and how I choose to draw and the colors that I use.
Okay, so do you feel that it's more of a conscious thing, or do you think it's kind of built into your subconscious when you're the artistic process?
I think it's kind of like nature and nurture, and like how we are brought up and the environment that we're brought up in. It has a lot of effect on how we think and how we feel. And art is a form of self-expression, and that is definitely translated.
Thank you so much. So John, I noticed in the sketch you shared for us a very powerful intersection of culture and religion in the art that you made. So can you speak a little bit about that and your upbringing as well?
So I was born in Egypt, and I lived my childhood in Kuwait, and then I came here to Canada like 4 years ago. And to be honest, definitely culture affects the art and where you grow and where you come from, and the people around you and everything affects your art. So as you saw in this drawing, of course my religion and culture and where I come from affected my art, and what I saw in the world and how media portrays me and people like me and how it's unfair. So that definitely transfers to my art. Like whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm thinking, it transfers to my art. And also when I came to Canada, definitely learned a lot about Indigenous people. And here it's a sketch that I didn't finish yet, but it shows I love different cultures, I love the differences, and I love to celebrate that.
I especially love your sketch of the Indigenous woman there because it shows the porousness of culture. When you are an artist and you have that mindset, you kind of just absorb things from culture. So it's a very beautiful representation of that. So Swada, can you tell me a bit more about the kind of cultures that influenced the art that you made? And where did you grow up, and how did the cultures of those places influence?
So every race has a different culture. So in East African country, henna design is part of the artist, and it's something that everyone does in a wedding ceremony or in a party or someone has a special occasion or on a birthday. So it's something common for East African country. And like Somalia, they have a different design of henna. Kenyan people, they have different design of henna. And Arabic, they have different design of henna. So everyone makes their own cultural design. So yeah, that's all.
That's beautiful, and for the benefit of the audience, in addition to being a sculpture artist, Swada is also a very experienced henna artist.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I was so happy because I am new in Canada, with only been 4 years, and just seeing the design out of the place in every different location, it makes me feel so good, and I never expected all this. And I did the contract for 10 years, my kids want to stay there. So, something like I'm happy and I'm proud of myself to be an artist. And it makes me feel like what I study, I work for it. So I'm proud of myself for that. Thank you.
That's beautiful. So, kind of on the same thread here, I'm curious, we're all sitting here, we're members of the BIPOC community. So, one of the things we're conscious about during Multiculturalism Day is the divergence of experiences that people such as ourselves experience compared to people from the mainstream community. So, I'm curious, how do you think being a member of the BIPOC community affects both the art that you make and kind of your overall experience as an artist? Jana?
So I think that being a part of the BIPOC community, so I see the media, I see the people around me, and I see some of the discrimination and inequalities that I face and other people face, and it's definitely, it hurts me. And I use art as a way of communicating that. Art is my way of communicating my emotions and what I'm seeing around me. And as you saw in this drawing, so it's definitely, I really like art because it's a way of communicating what I'm feeling and all the inequalities in this world.
There's a thread I really want to pull on there when you said that. You said you use it as a way to help you to heal maybe some of that damage caused by discrimination and racism. So, Adi, I want to ask you a question. Besides the actual creative process of making art, helps you in other areas?
I come from India, and when I came to Canada, I was introduced to a lot of diverse cultures. And I think that being introduced to all those varieties of different forms of art really helped me appreciate and be more respectful to other cultures. And I think that's really vital when we think of it as growth, as like growing as people and as artists, of course. And I think that being part of the BIPOC community, and it has really helped me widen my horizon as an artist too.
That's beautiful. Swada, how do you think being a member of the BIPOC community affects the art that you make? Do you think it has a difference? Okay, no worries there. So I guess we could, in a more general question here, where do you see your art career going in the future? Do you think this is something you went for a very long time? Or tell us a bit.
Yeah, because since I started at a young age, and I believe I'm still young, so I have more time, so I still want to be more artist. And even apart from the city of Saskatoon, I meet a lot of artists from Okinawa and other places, so it makes me feel more happy when someone is calling me to come and put my design or come and do something with it. So it's really changed my life, and I feel happy for that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think across the board here, I'm seeing a lot of messaging about how culture how art can marry together cultures in a way that really speak to a lot about all of those things that kind of transcend. This has all been such very wonderful insights. I think I'd like to give a question to Janet here. Kind of asking Robert a question. What's something that you think, as a member of the BIPOC community, as an artist, you think maybe artists outside of the BIPOC community know without understanding? Something you'd like them to know?
That's a really interesting question. So, I feel like even a lot of BIPOC artists, definitely maybe they will not get the same opportunities as other artists, but it's a good opportunity just like to show our stories and everything. And I would say for other artists to also look at different artists and see their stories, because every piece of art and every artist has a really amazing story, and it always shows in their arts.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much to all three of you for participating, for giving insights. To our audience, I think very soon you'll see these names on some plaques and some very prestigious museums not too long. So thank you very much again, and we'll be continuing our show shortly.
Just something.
Yes, sorry, please go on.
So like since I grew up in Kenya, I never grew up in Somalia. But in Africa country, East Africa country, most we focus on flowers. Because we believe that flowers bring happiness when you look at it, and it makes you feel like happy, even if we are in a sad way or we are not happy. So most of the design we focus on flowers, different kind of flowers or leaves. So yeah, that's all.
And I think it's a very good point to kind of end on here because your sculpture piece is called
Flower.
and what can you tell us the name of the piece?
Because I identify the happiness of that part. And the color we choose like green because the henna original it is a tree leaves with a green color. And we choose red because when you apply, when you dry, it became red color. And we choose like greenish, like cream light, and that was because of my skin color. So that is all we combine together and we make a design and we can do it. So one of the color was part of the skin color.
That's I think one of the most powerful ways you can show pride in I guess our membership in the BIPOC community.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of myself for that.
Thank you for sharing this one. Would anyone else have anything else to share before we conclude our panel?
I'd like to give a message to all the young artists out there. I think it's really important that we appreciate all of our fellow cultures that we live along with. And I think it's really important that you know that your art is meaningful to you and to everyone else. And to never give up and just appreciate the beauty of the nature that you're around.
Wonderful. Janet, do you have any closing statements?
I agree with her. It's like so many people want to give up because they think that their art is not good enough or they don't have the skills. But what I'm gonna say is that my art wasn't the greatest. Art is like anything else. You just put your emotions, you use it as a way of healing, and the more that you do it, the more that you practice, the better you get. So don't give up. Never give up.
I think that's a beautiful message to end on. So I would like to thank everybody again for sure, especially after those beautiful concluding remarks, for all these insights, for showing us the beautiful pieces you brought for us today. So yeah, I hope to see these hung up in some very prominent places. Thank you, everyone.
Next up, I'd like to welcome the Lika Dance Group and to perform some Ukrainian cultural dances for us. They're going to perform the Hutsal Rainbow as well as Ukraine in the Heart. The first dance is a little bit about the Hutsal people and their cultural performance, whereas Ukraine in the Heart is more about the current situation in Ukraine and a romance between a man and a woman and a man who goes to war.
Давай виключим світло і будемо мовчати про те, що не можна словами сказати, не можна писати, неможливо зіграти, а тільки мовчати, тихенько мовчати. Давай мовчати про те, що дівчати не вміють сховати, не можуть спати. Давай про мене і про тебе мовчати, мовчати, аж поки не захочем кричати. Місяць впав і темно в кімнаті, як довго що ти навчилась мовчати про те, що ніколи не змогла би збрехати, про те, що ніколи мені не спитатись. Ми будем з тобою у ліжку лежати, лежати, як сніг, водою стікати. Ми будемо жадно свої сльози ковтати, а з ними слова, яких не сказати. Давай помовчу тобі просто на вушко, голодною стала чаєва кружка, а ми ще маємо про що помовчати, а ми ще маємо про що полежати, як світло проб'ється через наші штори, ми знову з тобою, як всі заговоримо. А поки ще темно є в нашій кімнаті, давай з тобою будем просто мовчати, мовчати, мовчати.
now I'm going to invite Jola. She's a Nigerian woman from West Africa. She will be performing a poem for us in Yoruba, which is a language and an ethnic group in West Africa. And the poem's going to be about the essence of hard work and why it's so important for youth to take hard work serious and to really embrace it.
Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ níṣẹ́ ilé wa, ẹni kò ṣiṣẹ́ á máa jalè. Ìwé kíkọ́ láìsí ọkọ́ àti àdá kò ì pé o, kò ì pé o. Múra síṣẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi, ọjọ́ ń lọ. Iṣẹ́ lògùn ìṣẹ́, múra síṣẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi. Iṣẹ́ la fi ń dẹni gíga. Bí a kò bá rẹ́ni fẹ̀yìntì, bí ọ̀lẹ là á rí. Bí a kò bá rẹ́ni gbẹ́kẹ̀lé, á tẹra mọ́ṣẹ́ ẹni. Ìyá rẹ lè lówó lọ́wọ́, kí bàbá rẹ lẹ́ṣin lẹ́ẹ̀kan tí o bá gbójúlé wọn. Òtẹ́tọ́ ni mo sọ fún ọ o, apá la rí, ìgùnpá ni èékàn. Bí ayé bá fẹ́ ọ lónìí, tó bá lówó lọ́wọ́, wọ́n á tún fẹ́ ọ lọ́la. Àbí kò wà nípò àtàtà, ayé ayé ọ sí tẹ̀rín, jẹ́ kí o dẹni tí ń ra gó. Kò rí bí wọ́n ti máa yímú sí ọ. Ìyà ń bẹ fọ́mọ tí kò gbọ́n, ẹkún ń bẹ fọ́mọ tí ń sáré kiri. Má fòwúrọ̀ rẹ ṣeré ọ̀rẹ́ mi, múra síṣẹ́ ọjọ́ ń lọ. For everyone listening that is not from Yoruba, I would like to explain this in English language. It just means that work is the antidote for poverty. Work hard and work smart, my friend. Hard and smart work brings success. When there is no one to rely on, it's like we are lazy. When there is no one to trust, we focus more on our work. Your mother might be rich. Your father might own 1,001 horses. If you rely on them, in truth, you might be on the sinking ground. Families are like the arm, while extended family are like the elbow. If you are loved by the world today, you are still rich. They will love you tomorrow as well. If you have an esteemed position, you will be honored with fake laughter. If unfortunately you lose your money or position, they will turn their back on you. There is suffering for a foolish child, and there is sorrow for the child that has no plan or vision. Do not waste your formative years, my friend. Work hard and plan well now, because time waits for no one. Thank you.
And now for our youth panel. One of these panels is going to be youth in business. This is just really put the focus on the difficulties BIPOC youth face in business, as well as the successes and the triumphs and what it's like being just young, being a BIPOC youth and growing a business in Saskatoon, but also just growing a business as a young person. How difficult it is, but also how rewarding it can be.
All right, welcome everyone. We're starting off with our Youth in Business panel. My name is Priya. I'll be moderating this panel. So I just think it'd be best to start off with doing a little bit of a hello and tell me a little bit about yourself, your age, where you're from, how long you've been here, and also kind of around.
I'm Priya. Hello. My name is Kanrama. I'm half Congolese, half Caribbean, born and raised in Kenya. I own a small business called Kanrama Sense, formerly known as Keza by Kanrama. And I'm pretty much excited to be part of the conference today. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Parker. I'm from Saskatoon, born and raised. I'm 21 years old. I sell vintage clothes here with Max, and happy to be here.
Hello, my name is Max. I'm 21 years old. I was born and raised in Saskatoon, and right now I'm completing my Bachelor of Commerce and majoring in Finance, and I'm happy to be here as well.
My name is Nick Bascaraba. I'm from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. I moved to Saskatoon about 4 years ago to go to the College of Education at the U of S. I own a business called Infinite Online Enterprise, and I love sports. I love watching NHL hockey and baseball, and I'm a huge golf fanatic. morning. So great to be here and appreciate you guys.
Tansei, Talau, Gaskipiwe Maskweskweo, Mintigasan. Hello, my name is Shayla Natao. I am from Lac-Huron, Saskatchewan. I moved to Saskatoon about a year ago. I'm 24 years old. I have 3 children, and I'm a childbirth educator, and I run a business called Women Moon Warrior. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful, thank you all for that, it was beautiful. I think the best kind of way I'd like to know and dive into what your business is, what it does, and who it serves. So maybe I'll kind of pass this over to yourself, because you just kind of ended, and let us know a little bit about it, I'd love to know.
So I work as a childbirth educator, and my business is based off of ancestral knowledge in a contemporary world. And I'm all about language revitalization, and I work with herbs, and most of my knowledge that I carry comes from the elders back home. And so I believe that birth is not a medical procedure, and so I work with a lot of women who want to embrace having a more natural way of childbirth. And so I support families and in a very cultural continuity, and embrace all cultures and people who want to work with me. And basically I started Women Moon Warrior because I came from a community where there was a lot of unplanned pregnancies and not a lot of education on sexual and reproductive health rights. And so I'm really trying to put my foot in the door and be a voice for young women in northern communities, so that they are prepared and educated, and they have access to that education, and to make sure that they understand their rights in the birth world and the birth experience. But Women Moon Warrior, I create breast pads, reusable breast pads. I create reusable menstrual pads, and I just work with a lot of families on the land and off the land. And so, yeah, that's pretty much where I am. I've been nonprofit for the past 5 years, but I'm really trying to build that foundation and that structure to get going in a more professional worldview, so that I can work with health services in this community of Saskatoon, and work with Saskatchewan, what is it called here, the Saskatoon, the RUH, and the whole system, the whole healthcare system. I really, really want to integrate that partnership and have some collaboration. I think that's super important. So yeah, that's my focus.
That's wonderful, that is so impressive, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll pass it on to Nick. I just want to know kind of what your business is, who it serves, what does it do, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'm an advertiser. I create websites, and we get the websites to the top page of Google. We specifically work with contractors across Canada and the United States as well. So our clients range from fence contractors, landscapers, home renovations, pretty much any type of contractor. And we've been in business for about 1.5 years. And when the pandemic hit, I noticed that a lot of contractors, there's a huge problem with the market. They were having troubles obtaining customers, especially when the world transitioned to a digital world. And so, coming from an entrepreneurial background with my family, my dad, he owned his own fish company, and I helped him out with that. My uncle took over, and so I helped him out with that as well. So the reason why I started the business was just to tap into my true potential and to also represent Indigenous people, and to show the youth that anything is really possible if you truly set your mind to it. And so far it's been going great, and it's been such a great journey. I've learned so much about myself, and I've inspired not only the youth, but I've also inspired my peers as well, like my family, my relatives, my friends, and it's been such a great honor and privilege to represent Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people as well. So it's been quite a journey. I'm really grateful to be here.
Yeah, thank you. That was wonderful. Yeah, pass back to Max here. I'd like to know a little bit more about your business.
Alright, so our business is called No Stylist, and we specialize in selling vintage clothing. And by vintage clothing, it's like anything older than like the 90s. So 90s clothes, 80s clothes, 70s clothes. And why we do that is just, we find that, first of all, clothes are better quality when they were made back then, compared to today where a lot of fast fashion companies, they're just using sweatshops and stuff like that, and quality is a lot lower if you make more of it. So what we like to do is we like to find these old clothes, we like to show them to people and try to sell them so that we can kind of reuse them and kind of, that helps the environment in that aspect, and that's what we do.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, what Max said. Just the idea of giving these clothes, they're obviously not living things, but giving them a new home, another chance. Someone else might appreciate it more than the person who donated it where we got it. Just like to give clothes a second chance.
That's awesome. And yourself, Karen?
So when I started my business, it was called Keza by Panama. Keza is a Kinyarwanda word for beautiful. So I wanted anybody to who wears my brand to feel beautiful and appreciated. And the main purpose of my brand is to tell the African story, culture by culture, one accessory at a time. So I make accessories that have, like this bag was inspired by the Rwandan Igbo art that was introduced to the Rwandan culture by Prince Katira. So I want to, when people think about Rwanda, they think about peace baskets, but not many people know about the Igbo as much as they do the peace basket. So I want people to be able to wear it wherever they go and they're like, oh, what's that? I'm just like, yeah, it's from Rwanda. It's a cultural art that's very beautiful, and tell people stories behind the art so that they know how it's made, why it's made, the purpose of which it's made for. And yeah, it's for anybody who wants to learn about the African culture in its authentic form. I feel as though the African narrative has been skewed by people who think they know who and what Africa is. So I want to be part of the people who tell the African story from an African perspective.
That's awesome. Wow. I think kind of building off of what everybody has said so far, I'd really like to know if there was kind of a moment that inspired your business, if there was that, where you had a feeling and you just knew right away that this is something I want to do, this is something that I feel passionate about. I think for youth it's really important to feel that passion. So I'd love to know, was there a moment for you where when you're building your business where that passion kind of started?
So I love reading books. I read this book called Fortunes of Africa. It was talking about how beautiful Africa was and the light that's in Africa compared to the dark continents that we hear about. So I was like, oh, this is a beautiful thing. So I started reading about my own culture, my background. And I was like, not everybody knows about this. And even people back home, some people back home find it, it's too village-like to know your culture. So I wanted to share the African narrative in its form and not it feel like it's village-like. And even though it's village-like, being village-like doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Because if you go to African countries, the village is where the culture is preserved. So what are you without the village? So I want to bring the village to the people. And me growing up all the holidays out to the village, those are the best memories I have from my childhood. So I just want people to stop bringing a negative connotation to the word village as uncivilized, things like, for example, things like C-section. People think it's a Western thing, but it was actually from Uganda in the village. So without that village, no C-section would have existed. So just knowing the roots and appreciating the roots and wanting to share that information with people is what inspired me.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. Was it kind of a moment for you too, where you just knew what you wanted to do and started close that way?
Trends and stuff like it's expensive to do that, so it kind of pushed me more towards like vintage clothing because it's less expensive. Also, you can like find unique. It's more unique, and you can express yourself more in that way. So then, yeah, just during the pandemic, Mark and I were just hanging out pretty much, and we were just thinking about that. And I said, well, what if we started our own business and selling clothes? We're so interested in it. That's kind of where it started, pretty much.
Yeah, for myself, it's definitely inspiration from like the thrill of finding something, just at Valley Village or at a garage sale, just looking, being like, oh wow, this is a piece of history. But one time, like, my grandma called me and she said, my friend's about to have a garage sale, she's got some t-shirts. And I said, yeah, I'll take a look. And her son, who moved out however long ago, had a collection of vintage baseball tees. She was like, I'll sell them to you for $1 a piece. And I got a bunch of t-shirts for dirt cheap. I just got all giddy inside. Excited to see what they were worth, see what people were interested in these t-shirts.
That's awesome. That's so good.
Yeah, like I said, coming from a business-oriented family, kind of just knew it was in my heart to do something within business. And growing up, I just always wanted to own my own business, and I don't know, kind of just be like my dad. So kind of cliche, but yeah. But yeah, it's been great, and happy choosing that path for your career.
I really relate to your drive and your purpose and your heart, and so that means a lot to me because I come from a really community-oriented like family, and so we didn't always expect things. We didn't always expect things. We would just give and do and serve, and so that's what. And whenever you give, you do, and you serve, you get so much back in return, and goodness in your heart, and it makes you a strong person. And so I think that really drove me, and I've always been passionate about serving women and bringing the sacredness back to birth. I think that's super important for our women and for our men, is to know that what their capabilities are, and to really know that they have choice, and it's not about what comes out of a book and you're supposed to do it this way. I think it's really important that we go back to our communities and our home fires and to relearn how our women and our ancestors truly succeeded throughout their lifetimes to be where we are today, right? Because we wouldn't have survived like our grandmothers, they birthed us into this world alone. And so I really want to honor that and to share that through story and through experience with women and families today in this modern day. So and I really want to share that, like being back on the land. I have learned more on the land in one summer than I ever did in my entire years of going to school. It's really truly like self-powering, like being back on the land and collecting, digging up those medicines, that knowledge, and it's super important. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for your responses. I think that another way to go is as much as having your own business, there's so many positives. A lot of the time there are challenges as well, and I think it's important for youth to know that sometimes you're gonna get kicked down, but you're always able to come back up. And if challenges arise, and I know that the whole pandemic did make things easier, I'm sure, on your businesses and for promoting your businesses as well, and kind of moving into that digital side and promoting your business maybe on Instagram or picking up more social media handles. But Yeah, I think I was just kind of wondering if there was any challenges that you saw that really spun up with your business, and how did you overcome that, or how did you kind of face those challenges? Let's start with Tricia.
With me? Okay. I think there's always going to be challenges. You know, we're always moving forward. We're never going backwards. And I guess that we can learn from our past and learn from mistakes that we make. But I think that we're always moving forward and we're learning more, right? And so there's going to be challenges upon us. But I think that some of the challenges that I did face were coming out and sharing and exposing this knowledge, you know, and it's still challenging for me to talk about it because it's so taboo to a lot of people nowadays in my generation. Not a lot of people can connect to it. Like connect to I find a lot of women want to have natural births and they want to live a natural lifestyle and decrease their say like the menstrual pads that I make, the reusable menstrual pads, the reusable breast pads, like a lot of them want to utilize those things and to not increase the exposure to the environment, and you know, but in the end it's about really owning that responsibility and saying, yes, I am going to do this. And it's been a challenge for me to connect because I'm a strong woman and I've done it, right? But that's not to say that someone is going to really feel that in themselves. And so that has been kind of been a challenge for me to really, I can share so much and I can really try to encourage someone and to be there to support them. But in the end, life is about choice. And so the way I work is the way I live. So what I post on my Instagram, what I share out with the world, that is the way I truly live. And they say that social media is so like, that's not how someone's living on the other side, right? But sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. I like to share the realities. And I'm a truth seeker. I like to expose a lot of truth and real life events. And so on my birth page, I share a lot of that. And I expose my whole pregnancy and birth. And so that's kind of, it's really challenging to kind of connect with a community that's going to be there and say, yes, I love what you do, and to connect with it and to want to be a part of it. So, but again, there's going to be lots of challenges, but it's good because I'm overcoming them and I'm learning. So, yeah.
I find that genuine experience is so amazing for young mothers and people who are planning that would really mean the world to them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, yourself, like any kind of challenges that have come up over the year that you've kind of started this thing?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me is overcoming doubt. I think like it's the biggest one for me. Because when you're first starting out, you're always thinking about what if that, what if this happens, and you're just focusing on the negative. And I found once I overcame the doubt and stopped caring about what other people think, it was the game changer. And so I think that's the biggest challenge is just truly believing in yourself. And when everyone else is saying, don't do this, don't do that, or what if, it's very important to block out that other people, don't get me wrong, they support you and everything, they want the best for you. But if you really want something, you need to focus on it and focus on your vision and believe in yourself when no one else does.
That's a fantastic message. Wow. Completely. You guys over here?
I mean, when we started our business, we really knew like nothing. All we knew is that we love vintage, we kind of want to share this with people. So we've kind of just been learning as we go. We've made a lot of mistakes, but just persevering is important and not giving up. But also just Yeah, I would say main thing is just persevering through challenges, believing in yourself, like Nick said. That's probably the main thing that we were learning and had to face through our beginnings.
Yeah, Nick's message kind of came through on us. A lot of family friends told me, you're going to end up with a huge pile of clothes and no one to sell it to. But it's what I love, and it's what I love doing with Max. And I see it in my head, and they don't know what I see. So I want to do what I want to do. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I like that. That's awesome.
My biggest challenge was pricing. So I started taking, I bought leather. I was using genuine leather. And as you know, genuine leather can be very expensive. And I was bidding, and bidding takes a while. And when you make a mistake, you have to start all over again. So when I told people my price, they're like, just for a bag. And I was like, there's time in it, there's resources in it, so you have to pay this amount. And like, who will buy that bag? For me, I'm thinking, well, there's Rihanna, but there's few people who I need to start with. And they'll be like, well, we can't afford it. So I sold a bag that was $1,440 after calculating for $50. That's the biggest and best mistake I've ever made in my life, because I'm not doing that again. Because I lost my belief in myself that I could actually sell it for $1,440, and it pained me. That's why I can even remember the extra $40 and not round up the cost. And that was my biggest challenge. And when I went to fashion school, my teacher said that price your price. People who afford it will afford it. So don't be scared to put your price, because if you don't give yourself your value, people will just price you anyhow. And sometimes they'll price you so low that you just question your own ideas, your own purpose. So I would suggest, if it's $1 million, say it's $1 million, no smile, no say, oh, I can give you a discount, unless it's discount season. Otherwise, do not give that discount. My other challenge as an international student was funding. Overcoming that challenge is save and save. Pay yourself as if you're paying into that business. So whatever money you make work, find jobs, because that's what I do, and fund your own business. Because there's nothing sweeter than the work of your own labor. The fruits of your own labor is really, really good. So just continue working, and don't give up, because if you give up, then your dream is dead, right? And if you can, like you said, when you see it in your head, it's possible to see it in reality, because there's power in imagination. So if you kill that imagination, there's no image left and there's no life left. So don't kill that, keep striving for it. If nobody believes you, believe in yourself. You are the only one that matters. So if they don't believe you, that's their business. You believe in yourself and you will continue seeing the fruits. Then they will believe. Because for most people, seeing is believing, right? So just show them, then you will have the belief and support system. But support yourself first.
Yeah, wow. These are all just such fantastic messages. I think you touched on a really important kind of leading into our next question as well, being an international student. So I think my question is kind of, how has being a part of the BIPOC community kind of affected your business? How has that, whether it's positively, negatively, it's really just how has being, where you've come from, what you're trying to present to the world, what you look like, those things that you wish don't always come into your business, but a lot of the time they do, and that's something that you kind of have to take in stride and understand at a different level. I think I'm just kind of curious to see, how you kind of overcame that, or how you own that and make that a part of your business. And like, this is me, this is what I want to, show the world. So, yeah.
So what I do is mostly own everything. Apart from difficulties in funding, I don't see it as a difficulty. Yes, I'm an international student. That's not a disadvantage. As long as people I look at it as a different way to tell my story. Because there's somebody out there that in the future wants to do a business and they may not have resources just like I don't. So I may be a trailblazer for that person. So I look at it as a blessing. And when I meet people who are ignorant to my culture and are perceptive to learning, I find it really nice. So I'm just like, so did you know? Let me let you know. And I teach, I love teaching and telling stories. So I find it as an opportunity to increase the base of the African knowledge. So I look at it as a blessing to teach and be an inspiration to others, other than like feel ostracized and be like, oh, I'm a black person, so no one understands me. I mean, no one can understand you if you don't make yourself clear. If you make yourself clear, people will understand you. They have no choice but to understand. So owning your identity and your story is the most powerful step. The rest falls into place for me.
That's amazing. Wow. And for you guys too, anything to add on there?
I mean, yeah, we've only had positive experiences with the people that we've worked with and everything. But I would just say the main thing is just being confident in yourself. You know, depending on your ethnicity or whatever, where you're from, just owning your culture, being confident, everyone else will just respect that. Definitely.
And yourself here?
I think like going through college, like the financial part, I like didn't have like a whole lot of like financial support. I did, but I didn't like. So I think that's like the main one. But and being Indigenous, like trying not to let it affect me, and also like I really noticed like being young too. Like I'm older now, so they don't really take you seriously. I don't know. Yeah, that's one challenge that I thought was very interesting. I mean, there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be people, and I think it's all about perspective and just accepting it and just knowing that there's going to be challenges. There's going to be positives. One of the positives that I've gotten scholarships too for being Indigenous and gotten support from all sorts of groups and organizations. So there's pros and cons to it.
I really like your point about, I think that's why I really put a spotlight on youth, is because it kind of shows that the youth can do everything they put their mind to, right? I mean, this is such an interesting part about this organization, is we really just want to show that, young people have creative ideas and amazing minds that need to have that spotlight on them. And that's why we kind of do these kinds of panels, because it shows that. And there's so much innovation there, and it just needs to be, shined on, really. So, but I'd love to know a little bit more about your experience with everything.
Yeah. Did you want to say something though? Like, because I kind of saw you kind of.
No, Max.
Yeah, you're good? Okay. I think what all of you said was truly beautiful, and I definitely can relate to all of you. And I think just identifying as an Indigenous woman, like I am Neo Esquio, so I'm a Cree woman. I was raised by Cree people, my Cree community. My Chapans spoke not English to me, they spoke Cree, and I come from residential school survivors. But I also am missing I'm missing pieces of my identity, and that's my Métis ancestry. I'm still learning that. I'm still learning to embrace where I come from in different regions of Canada and worldwide, right? And so I think it's important to learn from our people and to learn and to learn from one another. And so learn from each one of you and to really embrace and share that and to share the love and the light within each other, right? I think that being an Indigenous woman, a lot of the times we're stigmatized and we're labeled as another statistic. But I am not another statistic. And I think as a young woman, personally, having my first child at 17, I was in grade 11. I still graduated, I still got my education, and I moved further on into my education. I was accepted into pre-nutrition and pharmacy, but I didn't want to do that. It was something that I wanted to wait, and so because I was growing into the person that I wanted to become. But I think that it's important to not dwell on the statistics and the labels that are placed upon our identities and our cultures. And I think that was something that was kind of challenging for me, especially being a white-skinned Indian. That's something that I don't focus on that. But as soon as I share that with someone, a piece of me saying that I'm a Cree woman, they're right away you can see the eye rolling, and it's like, oh wait, you're Cree? And so it's a throw off moment for the outside world, but I have a little bit of an accent, and so sometimes people can relate and say, okay, yeah, she must be from a strong community of Cree people. But that has been something that has been like, my people have always accepted me because they truly feel it within me. But to go out into the world and to talk with other Indigenous peoples, it's been challenging because they may have not had the knowledge that I carry, or maybe they don't have their language anymore. That's something that I want to embrace and learn again, and to really awaken. And so I think that was something that's been challenging for me. And just with protocol, there's so many different nations that have different ways of living and sharing. Knowledge exchange is super important, but again, it's very sacred. There is a lot of protocol that we have to follow. So, yeah.
Well, thank you all for sharing your experiences and being a little bit vulnerable and just being open with everything. And I think I kind of have one last question. It's to end things on a more optimistic note. I just kind of want to know one thing that you feel good about your business in the future. Like, where do you kind of see it going, and what do you feel good about with your business? I'd love to know a little bit more about one optimistic thing that you have towards your business in the future. I'll start with you, Kyle.
Okay. So one optimistic thing I have about my business is that my name is going to outlive me, because my business is now under my name. So I believe that just like Disney, people will know me, hopefully. And not mostly about me, but my passion for the African culture, my passion to teach people, and my passion to design, and also just the little story that made me successful, just to put it out there for everybody to be able to feed their mind with it so that they can also get that empowerment. That's what I look forward to every day.
Wonderful. And yourself,
I would say I'm looking forward to meeting new people in what we do. Max and I have made a lot of friends in this business so far, people who love what we love. And being able to sell stuff we wouldn't think we'd be able to sell. Like, picking up something being like, I don't know. And then someone saying, oh, I love this, take it. Just making everyone happy,
Right, my turn. Okay, yeah. So when you're starting your own business, like we were talking about earlier, your vision, and like you're bringing it into existence. So like without you, your energy that you put into it, it doesn't really exist. So just as long as you put your time and your effort into it, it's gonna grow as you grow. So I'm just saying, optimistically, I know as long as we work together and we keep putting our energy towards it, it's only only gonna go up for us.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about it. Right now it's doing really well, and there's no way it'll do well just because of how everything works. Like everything always works out. I don't know how, but everything always does. So very optimistic. And just to touch on what she was saying about like residential school, like like that's another thing too. I was impacted by that, so I'm kind of like overcoming that challenge as well. Like residential schools really destroyed the culture, so like us young people are really learning it and revitalizing it. And so what I plan to do with my business, once we get enough capital, my business associates and I, we're going to be starting like an Indigenous sports charity, providing hockey opportunities, transportation, fastball, lacrosse, and we're going to be helping youth overcome that challenge. Just because sports, I won't be here without sports, and so I'm very optimistic and it's going to happen. We're actually in the process of starting it up. It's in like 5 years, so, and it's just an idea right now, but I'm very optimistic. Really, that's my plan of giving back and helping the youth.
Awesome. I hope to see that come into fruition. That sounds amazing. And yourself?
I'm really proud of you, man. That's awesome. And that makes me emotional because I wouldn't be here without sports either. So I'm super optimistic about it. I think that even looking back 7 generations, the elders were super optimistic about the impact they were gonna make on the society. You know, our societies. I come from the medicine society, so medicine people, and I think that I need to think, as being a 24-year-old woman and being in this generation, I need to think ahead. I need to think 7 generations beyond me and what impact I'm going to make in today's society and the people that I work with, the young people that I serve, you know, and work with and advocate for. How am I going to? It's like I'm climbing a mountain right now, you know, and I have to keep building up my mountain so that one day someone comes up my mountain, they're going to be able to see beyond what I saw, right? And so, the carbon footprint am I going to leave? You know, like how am I going to impact today's generation so that they're able to support 7 generations beyond them? So I think about that. But I also try to think about right now with just my business and everything, I think about the knowledge that was utilized 7 generations before me. And so I really I pray so hard to and think deep within me, because it's within me. I really think about the gifts that I carry and the gifts that my chapmans, my grandmothers, my grandfathers carried, that they left with me, because usually your grandparents, they leave the gifts with the grandchildren. And so what do I have within me that I can bring out and to share with people? And I think that's super important. It's just a generational aspect. I think that's something that hits home for me.
Awesome, like kind of making that impact forever sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to kind of open the floor to any closing comments from anybody. If anything kind of came up that you want to touch on, or any last comments from anybody?
When I was starting my business, I wanted everything to go fast. And not in terms of production, but I just expected myself to be successful overnight, because I had this amazing idea and I was like, why not? But something came into mind, I don't know if this is a good example for us to say, a mouse gestation period is 2 months, and that of an elephant is more over a year, and you can see the strength, the different strength in those animals, right? And even the lifespan that they have. So I was looking at it and I embraced the slowness and the pace at which I was growing. And there are things that you can't see if you're moving very fast. So embracing the pace at which you're moving at and falling in love with that process is really, really important, because it makes you seek clearly, you know. It gives you gain wisdom throughout them. Because if I'm fast forwarding and somebody asks me, so what happened? I'll But there, I mean, I was fast. I can't remember that much, right? But if you soak yourself in the process, you know, when somebody sees you, they see that process as well. It grows on you. So, like the saying Swahili, pole ndio mwendo. So slowly, slowly is the way. So.
It comes out stronger in the end. That's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone else with any other kind of closing comments here?
What's your guys' business name?
No stylist.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I thought I heard you just actually. So do you guys like I'm getting a real 90s feel right now. Like, as soon as you walked in the door, I was like, wow, yeah.
It's probably like what we're our bread and butter is kind of like 90s.
Yeah.
Probably t-shirts more, but we're kind of getting into everything.
Yeah. Would you guys ever do like a collab or like get into like what are your guys' goals? I want to know some of your guys' goals.
I would say our main goal is to open up like a brick and mortar shop in Saskatoon probably. And just run that. Maybe franchise one day, but yeah, that's kind of our main goal right now.
Yeah. Sell anything that anyone wants. Like we definitely, we love t-shirts the most. They're the most fun to look for. There's always something cool.
Yeah. Do you guys have like a donation, like where I can donate or someone can donate?
Yeah, you just message us on Instagram, nostylist.yxe, and go from there. Yeah, we can buy clothes from you. We buy, we sell, we trade. Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. Thanks.
That's awesome. Well, I think I'll do kind of a closing thank you to all of you for participating and sharing your stories. It's been such an awesome experience. I know that all the viewers who are watching here, I just appreciate your stories and you're all an inspiration in so many different ways. So thank you so much for being a part of this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us today.
So I'd like to invite the dancers from the Chinese Dance School of Saskatchewan. Thank you.
回应你给的真心。Alright, alright, alright, alright。不管多远的距离，越努力就越靠近。My dream, my dream。嘿，青春有你的相遇，种下我们的约定。My dream, my dream。嘿，你的目光为我闪耀，剩下的我勇敢去闯，有最好的模样，去最美的地方，要住进你的心里呀，约定吧，一起绽放。It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay。出发，快乐，快乐。It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay。不变都可以到达，和我一起飞吧。不怕多远的距离，绝不放弃的坚定。My dream, my dream。青春有你的相遇，实现我们的约定。My dream, my dream。你的目光为我闪耀，剩下的我勇敢去闯，有最好的模样，去最美的地方，要住进你的心里呀，约定吧，一起绽放。It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay。出发，快乐，快乐。It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay。不变都可以到达，和我一起飞吧。你的目光为我闪耀，剩下的我勇敢去闯，有最好的模样，去最美的地方，要住进你的心里呀，约定吧，一起飞。It's okay, it's okay, it's okay。出发，快乐，It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay。不变都可以到达，和我一起飞吧。It's okay, it's okay, it's okay。It's okay, it's okay, it's okay。It's okay。一、二、三、四、五，起。一、二、三，一、二、三，走。
So I'd like to invite Fiza Ali to recite a spoken word poem. Thank you.
I am silver, the silver that glistens in a mother's eye as she stares, her numb eyes witnessing her innocent child die. For her child, she could not spare even a morsel, while fueled by materialistic gain. Corporations waste an amount colossal. Food that can assemble a heartwarming smile on the face of a starving child without a mere thought, it is tossed. I am silver, the silver that gushes down a father's cheek as he buries his lifeless child, never to hear him speak. Hunger is stifling, out of people it extracts life. Yet in our homes, constantly, stomachs are filling with luscious fruit, a luxury many cannot dream to taste. Deprived of hope, a joyous family hurled into despair. Shattered by loss, torn by neglect, our inaction. I am silver, the silver that does not sprout in avaricious hearts, ones who ruthlessly blame the hunger-stricken. From their dishonorable actions, a means to dissociate, absent in them the will to connect. lost in them the compassion of humanity. Only through breaking the cage of short-sightedness will they realize the darkness they call light. I am silver, the silver that scintillates in the striking sapphire sky, urging for a change. Desire for change connects us all as a nation into one body. It is our undeniable future and we share it, a method to aid, to repair it. We are silver, the silver in that mother's eye, in that father's tears, in the sapphire sky, away from avariciousness. We are the silvers of aspiration.
Okay, so I'd like to welcome the Mental Health and Resilient Youth panelists. Thank you.
Hello, bonjour. Hi, my name is Sebastien. I'm going to be the moderator for today's Resilience Battle. To start off, I'm just going to get everyone to introduce themselves, and I'm going to invite Monica on my left here to start.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Monica. I am 25 years old. I'm from El Salvador, and I came to Canada about 11 years ago. I've recently graduated from the University of Saskatchewan with a degree in health studies and an honors degree in psychology. A couple of weeks ago, I found out that I was accepted into my master's program for public health at the University of Saskatchewan as well. Currently, I'm working at an optometrist office, working at the front desk and pre-testing and those types of stuff. And I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you, Monica. I'm now going to invite Indy to share a little bit about herself.
Hi guys, my name is India, but I prefer to go by Indy. I'm born and raised in Saskatoon. I go to school in Texas at a college called Angelina College, and I play softball down there on scholarship. My favorite color is pink, and I have 2 cats.
Thank you so much, Indy. I'm now going to invite
Ine,
Ine, to share a little bit about herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Yining. I'm 20 years old right now. I'm going to school for nursing. I was born in China, but I immigrated here when I was 11 years old. So it's been about almost 10 years or so. And my favorite color is silver, and it's my pleasure to be here today.
Thank you so much, Ine. And now I'm going to invite Abhinit to share a little bit about himself as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Abhinit. I'm currently in my 4th year of business and neuroscience at university, and I came to Canada 4 years ago. And in my school, I'm serving as a student union president. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abhinit. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you about what does good mental health mean for you?
Good mental health means boundaries and personal time to me, if I want to define in 2 words. Creating boundaries with others, with ourselves, with our work, personal life, and creating time for ourselves. That's, I would say, mental health for me.
Thank you. That's a really excellent, insightful response. Ine, what does it mean to you?
My opinion, good mental health is for you to be having that positive and good relationship with everyone around you. You're able to maintain that, and then there's no effect on your life. You're able to do the things that you love, what you enjoy doing, and it doesn't affect you. You're able to function, everything. And also what he said too.
Thanks for your insightful comments as well, Ine. Indy, what does good mental health mean for you?
I agree with both of you. I think those are really good points. For me personally, I think good mental health is being open with yourself and your thoughts and your mind, and being open to the people who you surround yourself with, and being vulnerable, and just being positive constantly, not constantly, but just having a positive aspect that's in your life is what good mental health is to me.
Thanks, Indy. I really appreciate the vulnerability and positive outlook on life. And Monica, what else does good mental health mean to you?
Good mental health for me is just another aspect of overall health in ourselves. So just like how we eat healthy food, we exercise, we take time to be kind to ourselves and be positive with ourselves, as Indy was saying, because it's all part of our overall health. We have to be, ideally, we like to be as balanced in every aspect of our lives as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Balance is key in a good, healthy life. Okay, Monica, so I'm going to bring it back another question to you. When did mental health become such an important part of your life?
I think mental health really became an important part of my life when I started my undergraduate studies at the university. It was very difficult to move from that high school. I always had good grades and I never had to worry about actually doing well in school. And all of a sudden, I was in university and it was very hard to kind of adjust to that difference because there's a difficulty level that has definitely changed there. So I knew that without mental health and actually taking the time for mental health, it would be a very long 4 years. So something that I tried to focus on very early on in my undergraduate years.
Yeah, I think a lot of university students can probably agree with you on that one, Monica. And Indy, when did it become so important to you?
Mental health became really important to me, I think probably in my grade 9th or 10th year of high school. I had a lot of things going on in my life, personally, mentally, and physically too. And it started to become really apparent that I needed to focus on my mental health so that I can do better for myself and also for the people around me. And as time went on, it was one thing that I really needed to work on, which was my mental health.
Thanks, Indy. And Ine?
Mental health was really a big part of my life when I was 13 years old, when I got my diagnosis. It's called PMDD. So I got it in elementary school, I think grade 7 or so. And I just have trouble sleeping, like mood swings, some hallucinations, and all of that. And that's when it really affected my life, how I do normal living things. So that's when I sought help and found a psychiatrist and dealt with that. And that's been part of my life ever since.
Thank you so much for sharing that and being vulnerable with us, Ine. Really happy that you got help too as well. And Abneet, what about you?
In 2020, actually, that's the time when I thought I need to take care of mental health. I had a severe accident in 2020 April, where I lost my hand and now I have a disability with my right hand. From that time, I started taking care of myself, spending more time getting to know myself, my priorities, creating those boundaries, spending more time with myself, and prioritizing taking care of myself. I think from that time, I started taking care of my mental health more. Yeah.
Thank you, Abneet. I'm just going to ask you to build on that. How do you think good mental health changes the way you live your life, and does it make how is the positive effects of having a good mental health or a bad mental health affect your life?
It's an interesting question, actually. For me, when I had the accident, so before the accident, I was like, okay, I will do this master's and my MD in next year, summer, I will prepare. So I was very hyper organized. I will say that I was hyper organized and thinking that everything will go according to the plan. But when I had the accident, then I couldn't do my MD because I have disability now. So that time, I took time, like 6 months, to think about what's really I need, prioritizing. And that really changed myself, getting to know about myself, the priorities, how to manage things, how to create boundaries with your life, how to prioritize yourself with others, how to schedule your time. Those small things like daily routine that we don't think, it makes a difference. But when you start implementing it, it really makes a difference. And I took a lot of help of counseling, actually, and I still go sometime. And that's the best time of the month, I will say, that when I go and express myself and chat to the counselor and get to know a lot of things. I think that's how it changed. And through that, it really helped me in my current work too. So right now I'm serving as a student union president, and all those learnings which I took from my psychologist, it really helped me to apply into my leadership position and my job. So it not only changed my personal life, but my professional life too. So, and that's why I highly recommend, like, if you think you should go, like, just talk out. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Ine, how do you think health, like having a strong mental health, being healthy in your mind affects your physical health, your social health, and just your life in general?
Sorry, one more time.
Sorry, how do you think, like, your mental health, how does a strong, like, healthy mind dictate, like, how you are, take care of yourself physically, your relationships, and just your life, versus maybe before you got help and before when you had a negative mental health or not quite as healthy and taking good care of yourself?
Right. So I think it's definitely like miserable and you don't know what you're doing when you have bad mental health. And once you found that support, you find a good psychiatrist and your family and friend is there for you and there's someone to talk to, it definitely helps going past that bad mental health point. And I think also he said, like, speaking to someone is super important with mental health. Like when you're having a bad anxiety, when you have some sort of depression, it's super important to have someone there for you.
Thank you so much, Ine. Indy, do you have anything to add that you could add?
I know that when I was in some bad spots with my depression, my anxiety, I would have these terrible mood swings. There were times where I truly could not get myself out of bed. And like you said, it was an honest, miserable feeling of just losing that self-worth. And from where I am now, I feel like having a psychiatrist, having a counselor, having friends and family who you can talk to and express how you feel, it has changed my outlook on sharing things and being vulnerable. And vulnerability is such a big key in my life. And I live my days now with positive outlooks instead of constantly seeing the negativity in things. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you so much. And Monica, is there anything else you'd care to add?
Yeah, I think you're totally right, Indy, like what you're saying, like being able to be vulnerable with yourself. I think for myself, it was probably to stop being in denial. I think it's very easy to just pretend that you're okay, to tell to yourself that there's nothing wrong. But in the end, it just does more harm than good. So to have the ability to be vulnerable is very important to have actually good mental health.
I really appreciate how vulnerable and how honest you guys are all being. It makes it much more better to be around this. Monica, I got another question for you. How do you think your ethnicity affects your mental health and your ability to talk about it and just the culture and your position in your life? How do you think it affects you comparatively to like other people, maybe?
Yeah, so I come from a pretty strong Latino background. At home, we only speak Spanish. And I think coming from a Latino background, sometimes we are not really that accepting to talking about these issues. Like I mentioned before, denial is a very real way that we handle things in my culture, I find. And it's been really fascinating to me to be able to come into the Canadian culture and learn just how open and welcoming and warm Canadian people are towards being honest with ourselves for mental health. I think it's been a real blessing to come to know this culture and in that same way accept it into my own. And I know my family, we're all learning from this Canadian culture, and it's really been very important to me. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Monica. Indy?
Well, being from Canada and being born and raised in Saskatoon, my ethnicity is white. And I know that I am privileged with the people that I've had to talk to and the life that I got. I know there are other people who don't have that structure in their life. For example, where I work is group homes for at-risk Métis children. And I see and I work with kids who don't have the same opportunities as I have, being white, as them being Métis. And I can't wait for that to change and for the world to see that there's no difference just because of skin color. And with my ethnicity, that's something that I want to really get out into the world.
Thank you, Indy. Ine, how could you say your ethnicity impacts your experience with mental health?
So I'm Chinese, and I grew up in a very, say, traditional Chinese household. My parents moved here when they're 40 years old, so their brain and their mindset is deeply rooted in that, like, traditional conservative side. So with a lot of the things, they think mental health is more of a stigma, like we don't talk about it. Like, people do have really bad mental health, but they don't care. In that culture, it's not as valued as, let's say, Canada. So I feel privileged and happy that I'm here and got the right treatment and what I needed in Canada. So I'm very happy for that.
Thank you so much for sharing. And Abneet.
I'm from South India, like India. So I come from a background there where mental health is not even a word. If you say that you are mentally not well, there are hospitals, not the fancy hospital in Saskatoon, the very like jails, I will say. So no one talks about that. And violence, trauma, abuse, it's not. And like pressure, it's like, it needs to be there actually, if you are a student specifically. But when I came here, I started talking about, and being a student leader, when I talk about my mental health, it makes other students to come out and like you go to counselors and talk to other people actually. So yeah, and my support through the counselor, psychologists and psychiatrists really helped even my parents a little bit, because now I talk to them like and try to express myself. So it really opened a different way of thinking and perceiving things. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Abneet. I'm just gonna again ask you to expand on that. I just want to hear about your support system and what your support system is and how it helps you, and just like counselor, and just expand on that and how you got involved with that.
So I will just go back like a couple of years back. So when I was too much in depression because of my surgeries, and like I had 3 plastic surgeries. So that time I really needed the support. So I was having one counselor, one psychiatrist, social workers, and a lot of people. And I'm really glad those people were there in my hard time with me. And still I go sometime, because in the work which I do, we have to deal with a lot of students every day and with the manage a lot of staff. So it really gives me an open and safe space to speak and to learn. So that's why I go, and like from there, wherever I learn, I try to apply in my workplace or personal life, and it really helped me to grow. So I try to learn and grow from those things. So, and that's my support system, and that safe space, basically, I will say, that we all need.
Yeah. Thank you. Ine, what about you?
My main support is definitely my psychiatrist, and she's been with me for like 7 years. And also my mom. She's always there for me. Whenever I need someone to talk to, I ask my mom for advice. And back in the days when I wasn't feeling well, I was in a mental health ward in Dubai, and she would take care of me. She'd come visit me and cheer me up, saying like, think on the positive side. And also having a best friend that I met her in nursing school. She's just always like a phone call away. Like if I really need someone to talk to and I'm not in a good mood, she's always there for me. So having a support is super important.
Thank you so much. Indy?
My support system really goes off on my family and my counselor, my psychiatrist, and I think the main one would be my sister, Priya. I really think that it really hit me that my sister was like the first person that was my support when I was also in Dubai for the mental health hospital. I was in there for about a month, and for the first little bit, I did not want to see anyone, and that was really hard for my family and me until like my sister came with a booster juice, and we just started talking, and that day has always like really stayed with me, because having that support system where you can go with them and go to them for absolutely anything, you can be yourself and you can tell your story and what's going on in your head. That is so important, and the fact that I have that person who is constantly with me it saved my life. And yeah.
Thank you so much. Monica?
My support system is mainly my partner, and would probably say my dad. I've been with my partner for 10 years. We've been together for a very, very long time. We've grown up together, and having each other has been such a blessing to me. I'm very grateful for that. I recognize how important it is to have somebody there for you.
Thank you for sharing that. It's giving me shivers and getting tingles. It's just so awesome to hear. Okay, so Monica, I got one question for you. What is it like you notice? Have you ever noticed other people struggle with their mental health? What's it like being on the outside as opposed to experiencing it? How do you see people? Just your thoughts on being around people who struggle?
Yeah, I've had a couple times with some friends who have struggled with mental health in a very serious way, and just being quite honest, it is quite hard. And it's difficult, it is heavy, it is tiring, and it takes a toll, of course, compared to what they experience. But I think sometimes we're expected to, as a support system, we're expected to kind of take over the world, and with time, it gets hard. And I think it's good to put it out there that it's okay to struggle, and that as long as we are doing our best to be there for our loved ones, we're already doing a lot.
Thank you so much. What's it like being on the outside and just seeing people? How is it for you?
I agree with you 100%. Being on the outside of seeing someone that you might love or is just a dear close friend to you, it does take a toll on you, because seeing someone else in pain causes you pain. So wanting to be there for them, it can be a struggle. You can have your highs and lows with it, but the fact that you can be a support system for someone else that they can lean on and that they can trust is really important, and it is difficult to deal with at times, but it is also really rewarding to see someone who might be really down one day and then they gradually start picking themselves up. And I just think that that is a very rewarding feeling, because you might have been the shoulder to cry on, or you might have just given them a little piece of advice, and seeing them grow is so beautiful. So yeah.
Thanks so much, Amy. Elaine?
So I was in mental health day back in February this year, and I'd say my mental health status wasn't too bad, but in there I've seen a lot of people who were suffering a lot more severe things than I have been, and everyone is dealing with different things in mental health, and what I can do is try to cheer them up and tell them that you're worth more than you think. You're better than you think you are, and just try to make the time little things matter. The time make them nice to do a painting together, or do something in the day that makes them happy, and hopefully that'll cheer them up and don't need for them to not be as depressed anymore. It's pretty sad in general, and there are a lot of people who are saying that like we're just same people, but we just live in the same world. That's what brought us all together. And I agree with that, actually.
Thanks so much, Elaine. Is there anything else you care about?
Yeah. So when I was taking support from my mentor, then I realized I'm well supported. Then I took my mental health post certification. So I was like, I need to share my learnings with others, to other fellow members actually of the community. Then I took the certification, and I learned there, like, so whenever I see any friend or any person who deals with stress, I just try to create that safe environment and just try to speak in the silence. Like, hey, I just want to let you know that if you ever want to talk to me, here is my number. Feel free to reach out. And from my personal experience, I have seen they will call you in 1 or 2 days, but within a few weeks, I have received message every time which I have spoken to somebody like, hey, like you were talking about the mental health support that you reached out. So can I get in touch with those support? So I do that. So I think it's sometimes being vulnerable to others and reaching out and sharing the story to your peers. Because right now we live in an environment, we have so much peer pressure from school. So just creating those safe environment and telling them that if you need ever, like I'm there for you and we can have a conversation. Just that open conversation. So yeah.
Just like today.
Yeah, that just like today. Yeah, thank you so much for creating that safe space for sharing our thoughts. Yeah.
No, thank you guys. It's really amazing when people come together and just put it all out on the table because really to open your hearts up, you gotta open it up. You gotta be able to give together, you know? So I think that's a lot of what you guys are talking about, giving yourself, but also being able to take once in a while, being able to look after yourself, and being able to ask for help, being able to be yourself as well and be vulnerable. That's all for the questions. Do you guys have anything else that you'd like to add or ask or anything?
Just thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you guys. Really big deal. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And now I'd like to give you guys some time to recharge and by inviting Toby to the stage. He's a saxophonist. He's going to be playing a little bit of reggae with Bob Marley as well as a little bit of high life. And he's just going to give us some good vibes, a little bit chill. We're just going to be able to recharge and then enjoy what it goes.
What happens when the prostate enlarges?
And finally, I'd like to invite Anthony Olushola, the Executive Director of Truly Alive Youth and Family Foundation, for his closing remarks.
Oh, what a great evening it's been. A testament to the great opportunity, potential, and abundant resources embedded in our youth, only if we give them the platform. Recognizing that this event has been made possible today on 56 territory, the traditional land of the Métis people, and we've demonstrated our collaboration and support as well as allyship across cultures, starting our evening's event with the powerful lessons through the Indigenous heritage performance and across cultures. I hope you'll agree with me that our youth are capable, able, and the future starts now. The multiculturalism celebration, which we showcase today, has been made possible by the Government of Canada, Department of Canadian Heritage. We are grateful to other collaborators and our financier, if you will. SAS Culture is one of them. Our good friend and supporting organization, Saskatoon Open Door Society, the Francophone community here in Saskatoon, and all others across ethno-cultural communities who have come to rally around the support for our youth. We say thank you. As we draw the curtain for today's event, keep in mind your heritage is who you are. Your culture is your identity. And as we are all part of this multicultural society, which is always a work in progress, I encourage us to be tolerant of each other, to appreciate each other, and to open our heart and mind to the cultures that are different from ours. Above all, teach your children, your youth, young adults, their heritage, so it does not go into extinction. Many thanks and greetings. Have a great rest of the evening. Keep cultures alive.